Welcome back, Alphas. Von Clutch here. Last video, I started off by saying hindsight is 2020. And you know what? I still stick to that. So last week ended the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, the anniversary sale. And we had 12 days of Christmas. We've been able to fly ships. We've been able to try them. We've been able to buy them. And along the way, I learned some tips and tricks that I want to remember when it comes time for next year's anniversary sale. So while it's still fresh on my mind, we're going to talk about that. So hold position. Things I talked about in the last video included how to maximize the anniversary sale, how to use store credit to pick the best ships, how to use the buyback token system, how to maximize the CCU system, and what to think about when it comes to the new flight model, plus much more. So if you want to check that out, I'll go ahead and put the link up at the top of the screen right here. And then let's go ahead and talk about what I learned from this year. Like I talked about in the last video, my plan this time was every 24 hours to basically melt most of my ships for store credit, buy those ships that are rare or that you just can't buy throughout the year, and get them into my buyback list, all with 72-month insurance. So that I did. However, it took me a few days to realize that hey, it's free flight weekend and you don't even need a game package. So I melted my Cuddy game package from last year's, the 60-month anniversary edition, which was really a Mustang that was upgraded to a Cutlass with 60-month insurance. So I melted that and I got $105 store credit back. Then what I did is I thought, what is the coolest, biggest ship that I want, can support in my fleet with my org that we could actually use, that I've always wanted, and that may be going up in price, especially those ones that weren't out yet. So the last one that I bought on the very last day of the sale was the Orion. I melted everything and got an Orion and, I don't know, another ship or two. So my point is that I could have been snowballing more of my store credit each and every day to maximize my fleet purchases. So it took a few days, but I figured it out. So next year, I'm melting everything, including the game package, because once a quarter, I can always buy back something, which came in handy considering that this year, the fledgling pilot packages were Warbond only. Last year, you could buy game packages with store credit. This year, and I understand why, they were incentivizing new players. They wanted new money, influx of new money into the project to help take it to the next level, which I'm cool with. Because otherwise I could have melted, say, a $45 game package, bought one with cooler insurance, and made $10. So I understand why. They're just trying to keep people from gaming and exploiting the system. Totally understandable. Now check this out. Over the course of the 12 days, yeah, I just used store credit and melted everything, and then 24 hours later bought it back. Now, like I mentioned last video, I needed to start early on the first day. And that's a good thing because even though I did set timers for when to go to the website and melt everything, you know, a little after 24 hours later, by the end of the week, by the end of the 12 days, actually, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning when I was able to melt everything. So I had to stay up late a couple of nights because life happens. And so maybe the 24 hours ran out at 1:30 in the afternoon, but I'm at work. So I can't buy it back until later, which means several more hours pass. And then you got to start the 24 hours over from there. So always start early on day 1 because you're going to need those extra hours. Some other things that I realized along the way. Well, I started to feel a little guilty there for a moment that I wasn't giving any extra cash to the project. And I'm sure they invested a lot of money into getting everything ready for this, the development of the actual exposition in game, things like that. However, I realized I did spend 3 microtransactions across the 12 days. It was about $20 they got from me. So one backer, they got $20 during this huge, massive sale starting on Black Friday. Was it worth it for CIG? Well, let's think. If they had 2 million accounts, donate $20 each to help back the project and keep it going, that's, you know, that's $40 million right there. That's a good month. And so now I don't feel bad. I don't. Because I only donated $20 during the big anniversary sale, the big event. Now, going into this, I wasn't planning on really donating anything, because I've donated enough money to the project over the years that it's gotten big enough to where we've got enough backers, right? I've gotten it off the ground. Those of us that have been around for years, we've gotten it off the ground. Now it's taken off. So, you know, our donations from back then have really paid off because look, we got Hurston now and it's only going to get bigger. Art course coming soon, then Microtech. I need to look at the numbers, and I think I heard preliminary that they actually did really well this event. So I'm hoping they did. And that helps fuel things for 2019. Speaking of fledgling pilots, there were a lot of servers active and a lot of servers full. So let's go ahead and talk about the performance during 3.3.6 free flight week-ish. Let me think of a good professional way to sum it up. Good Lord, those frames, dude. Those frames, good Lord, they are so good. Yes, okay, so I'm getting like 100 frames a second out in space. I'm getting, I don't know, 40-something running around in Lorville. Levski still, I get, I don't know, 25, 30. But that's Levski. We know it, it's lag ski, right? I didn't have many game crashes, so that was good. And to be honest, one of the reasons I haven't posted in like over a week was because the game is so good. It's so fun. I actually looked forward to playing it with my friends after work. Can you believe it? Yeah, I looked forward to playing it because I knew that I could go do cargo runs and make money and do all kinds of fun activities with my friends and not have to worry about the risk of the game crashing and losing my cargo or my progress or my spot with my buddies on the ship. So it was great. The performance is greatly improved because of OCS. So now I consider it a playable game. I kind of feel like this game was Pinocchio, and it was always looking up and wishing upon a star, and I guess the Stanton star. And then now it's a real boy, dude. Oh my gosh, you can play it. It's playable. So there are still bugs. Yes, there are still bugs. Has anybody tried to take a giant ship and take off from Hurston? Did anybody try to leave Lorville during the exposition in something like a Starfarer or a 600i? Finesse it. Yeah, you got to finesse it, but sure. But man, I could not do it. I could not finesse it enough. It would just get up and then roll. Like a whale just rolling over and dying and floating to the surface. Boom! Hits the wall, explode. So there were bugs. There were challenges. Oh yeah, and my buddies and I figured out how to become millionaires by not exploit. Our job as alpha testers is to find the bugs and then report them, which we did. Okay, we went to the issue council and we reported this, just throwing that out there first. But we tried to do a quick exchange of money. Hey, my buddy was broke. Actually, he lost all his cargo in a game crash. There was one time that something did happen and he was down to 13 credits. And so I said, you know what, man, I got like 12 grand. I'll give you 2,500. Let's see if that'll help. So myself and a couple of org mates took off and went out into deep space somewhere, killed the engines to reduce our signature so nobody would see us, and then I started a combat assistance beacon for 2,500 a minute. Well, after the minute passed, it didn't take any credits away from me, but he got it. So I was going to cancel the beacon, but then I thought, wait, it doesn't seem to be deducting it. So we kept going with it. Eventually, we got him like 10 grand. We canceled that beacon. We took that 10 grand and we started a new beacon and gave it to our other org mate, who then compounded it until he got about 50 grand. Then he started a service beacon and sent it over to me for like 50 grand a minute. And then et cetera, et cetera. We just compounded it and snowballed it over and over and over until we had 60 million credits. Yeah. So I'm holding 60 million credits and that was it, right? They all had like 20 million and 10 million, something like that. So then we said, hey, you know what? Let's log out. Let's go get a new server. This one's starting to get a little choppy because, you know, it's an alpha and the longer it goes, sometimes it gets a little choppy. Plus the server is getting full. So we decided to log and go back. When we did, the guy in chat that warned us, he's like, hey, are you guys doing the service beacons? Do you know that it actually doesn't reflect the fact that it is deducting the credits? Wait, what? So we log, we check, we log back in. And guess what? I had 60 million and my friends were at negative 50 million and negative 10 million. So yeah, it was deducting. Uh-oh. Now they couldn't rent ships at the expo. Yeah, so that was the downside. That wasn't fun. But we figured it's our job as alpha testers. You know, it's our job to like, you know, see what we could do here and then go report it on the issue council like we did, all three of us. And what we did is we took that 60 million and I did some cargo runs and stood next to the terminal and every 60 seconds just dumped the next 15,000 credits worth of cargo. And I did so many cargo runs in the biggest ship I could, and we compiled it to where we could get them back in the positive. However, they wiped the server. So that's good. But we reported the bug and they fixed it. So now you don't have to worry about accidentally sending your friends into a negative balance. But it was actually kind of fun to take that house money and reinvest it in some cargo runs, make that money. Then we all divvied up our profits amongst us and everybody was back in the positive. So unfortunately, they didn't get to rent some ships for those days, though those of us that did have credits rented ships and just let them fly them. So anyway, it's kind of fun things about the alpha project that you can discover when you just play around with it. Aside from these little bugs like that and some things that frustrate you, little ship bugs and things, the game is really in a playable state, and it's got a lot of stuff for multi-crew to where you can actually party up with your buddies. Just please, CIG, give us some working VoIP. We could put face-over IP on hold. I'm cool with that. It was really badass, though. My friends were impressed. But can we just get VoIP? Like, just that working? Because I can't seem to get it working. And if I turn on face-over IP, after the first time I tried it in 3.3, since then it just really lags out my game so bad that I have to close the whole game and come back in. So I'm not sure what's going on with the face-over IP. It's definitely leaking something, but I'm no programmer. I just play it. I'm a gaming enthusiast, and I'm here to entertain you. So those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments below. Hey, if you enjoyed this commentary, leave me a like, share it with your friends and org mates. Remember to subscribe for more content, and I will be looking for you out there in the business district coming up soon.